What's going on, guys? Mike here, and I'm hoping that the editing is a little bit better now that I have returned from vacation. But as I was driving home, it was like a nice 3-hour drive. I got to do some catching up on everything that's going on. I heard some really interesting news in regards to this Aaron Rodgers situation, including a tidbit that his star wide receiver, a man that probably holds Aaron Rodgers closest than any other player on the team, Davante Adams, had some choice words for the situation as well. So really quickly, guys, before we get to the content, just a reminder, we're giving away a pair of Apple AirPod Maxes to a subscriber that turns on our notifications on this channel. Whether you're an old subscriber or a new subscriber, if you subscribe and hit that notification bell, you've entered for a chance to win Apple AirPod Maxes. And if you just take a moment to slap a like on that like button, it really helps me out a ton, guys. Now that we got all that out of the way, Mike check 1212. What's going on, everybody? So this Aaron Rodgers situation definitely caught us by surprise a couple of days ago, and as the days went on, more and more information has been coming out about this news that has just been really taking us by surprise. And whether some of this information is true or some of the information is just trying to save face from one party or another, we're going to interpret that for ourselves, and I'm going to want to get your opinions in the comment section down below. So get this, a few days ago in our last video, we covered the main reason why Aaron Rodgers is so disgruntled with the Green Bay Packers is because of one of two things. The first reason is he claims that he wants a contract extension, something that we debunked in our last video, which really doesn't make sense if you think about it, because he doesn't really need an extension past what he is already due. The man currently has a contract up until the end of the 2022 season, which means he is under contract for the Green Bay Packers for 2 more years, and he wants an extension past that so he can get some sort of Tom Brady-like commitment from his existing team. Which again, doesn't really make sense for either side, because say if you're Aaron Rodgers, what if you don't like how things are with Green Bay at the end of 2022? What if Green Bay still really wants to move on from you? I don't understand why he would want stability from that exact team. And honestly, I really think that whenever he tries to squeeze his general manager for a contract extension, he's really bluffing. Now, the second thing that's been really bugging him is the fact that the Green Bay Packers went ahead and traded up in the 2020 NFL draft to draft Jordan Love. And they did this despite them being in a very wide receiver heavy class last year. Things have gotten so bad that Aaron Rodgers pretty much said that if Brian Gutekunst, the general manager of the Green Bay Packers, doesn't get fired, then he would not return to the Green Bay Packers. And this could cause a very unfortunate and uncomfortable circumstance for both the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers, to the point where we could potentially go an entire year without Aaron Rodgers playing football, or Aaron Rodgers might literally retire early. And it's not like the Carson Palmer situation where Carson Palmer was 30 and he could wait as much as he wanted until his team took the bait and finally traded him to another team for a bunch of first-round picks. Aaron Rodgers is currently 38 years old, so each and every moment is important to him if he wants to continue playing football. And if he even retires for a second, then that might be it for Aaron Rodgers' NFL career. So here's where things get really interesting. Brian Gutekunst probably got word about the reason why Aaron Rodgers is so frustrated, because we got word from Ian Rappaport, which I'm always going to say this before I cite Rappaport or Schefter. I take these guys' words like gospel, but we'll interpret that for ourselves, that apparently in 2020, Packers general manager Brian Gutekunst targeted a wide receiver. He tried to trade up for LSU wide receiver Justin Jefferson, only to see Minnesota take him. He watched the 49ers trade up for ASU wide receiver Brandon Ayuk, another target, and then Green Bay moved up to select Jordan Love. And to be honest, I'm looking at this piece of information, and I tell you this all the time, whenever we get a piece of information, it could actually be the truth, or it could be something that teams are leaking to the media so they could distort and control the narrative. And to be honest, looking at this from an objective point of view, I think that this is something that the Green Bay Packers may have leaked out to the media just to try to control the narrative, because this makes no sense to me whatsoever. You were targeting a wide receiver, and it happened to be the best wide receiver out of the wide receiver class so far, and you tried to trade up to select Justin Jefferson when Justin Jefferson went off of the board, and then then Brandon Ayuk went off of the board. What you decided to do was trade up to be the pick after Brandon Ayuk and not take a wide receiver. Bear in mind, the next two wide receivers off of the board were T. Higgins and Michael Pittman Jr. Two really good wide receivers, not Justin Jefferson good, but T. Higgins had a very strong rookie season, and Michael Pittman Jr. showed a lot of promise in Indianapolis. And the crazy part is the Green Bay Packers picked 30th, so they could have stayed where they were, but they decided to trade up to 26 just to take Jordan Love. If they truly were focused on taking a wide receiver, then they probably would have just taken the next best option there, because the next wide receivers that came off the board weren't that bad at all. T. Higgins, Michael Pittman Jr., Laviska Shenault. Then you get to players like KJ Hamler and Chase Claypool, Denzel Mims, Van Jefferson. There were a lot of good options, and yeah, I don't really think I would want to take Van Jefferson right there at the end of the first, but Michael Pittman Jr. or T. Higgins would have been just fine if you really needed a wide receiver. So I think Brian Gutekunst is just trying to save face here, and I don't really trust him at all. But that's my interpretation. Maybe you're interpreting this differently, and if you are, let me know in the comment section down below. But here's what's crazy, because we got a little bit of an update as to other things that are bothering Aaron Rodgers and what Brian Gutekunst did, and tell me if this sounds familiar or not. The Green Bay Packers released a wide receiver that Aaron Rodgers had an attachment to. This wide receiver was Jake Kumerow, and this just rubbed Aaron Rodgers the wrong way, and I could imagine it bothering him because it's not like this guy has the cream of the crop for his wide receiver core. Yeah, he has Davante Adams, but for the most part, all the other wide receivers are formed as a result of remarkable chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. And a few years ago, the Green Bay Packers did the same thing here, opting to release Jordy Nelson instead of bringing him back, and this also really bothered Aaron Rodgers. Now, get this, guys. Tell me if this sounds familiar, because I said this was a huge theme for quarterbacks this offseason. Aaron Rodgers also said that he wanted more input in personnel decisions. So, if you guys remember, we heard Deshaun Watson say this when he had an issue with the Houston Texans. We heard Russell Wilson say this when he had an issue with the Seattle Seahawks. As a matter of fact, Russell Wilson probably made it the most famous because he said it live while he was being interviewed by Dan Patrick, and now Aaron Rodgers is echoing that sentiment. So you might be wondering, okay, why are all of these top tier quarterbacks so disgruntled with their franchises and are asking for the same thing? Well, if you remember, all of these quarterbacks literally just watched Tom Brady leave the New England Patriots, go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, take a pay cut, essentially form his own team. Ask the Buccaneers to trade for Rob Gronkowski, and they traded for Rob Gronkowski. Ask for the Buccaneers to sign Antonio Brown in the middle of the season, despite Bruce Arians not liking Antonio Brown. As a matter of fact, they just recently re-signed Antonio Brown, bringing along Leonard Fournette for the ride, requesting that they drafted a left tackle last year. Asking Bruce Arians, hey, I understand that you don't like using pre-snap motion, but please, I'm Tom Brady. Let me use pre-snap motion. I will win you a Super Bowl. All these things aren't necessarily privileges that the everyday quarterback gets. You don't see a lot of quarterbacks that get to essentially build the team around them. As a matter of fact, the best way I could compare this to something is LeBron James has this reputation in the NBA. A lot of people call him Le GM because he goes out and he networks and he tries to form his own teams more or less. And I can imagine after seeing what Tom Brady did, a lot of these top tier quarterbacks want to do the same thing. But here's the problem, and I know a lot of people are going to take this as a slight to Tom Brady, but I'm going to say this over and over again. It's not necessarily rocket science. Tom Brady is a remarkable QB. He takes pay cuts. He has remarkable teams built around him as a result of that, and that's how he wins so many Super Bowls, in my opinion. I don't think Aaron Rodgers getting a max contract and also being able to determine who are the pieces around him, I don't think that's going to do much for him. I think he's going to run into the same problem because, once again, I don't remember the last time a quarterback that was getting paid max money made it to the Super Bowl. Now, this is where things get the craziest because Davante Adams, Aaron Rodgers' old reliable wide receiver one, a player that called Aaron Rodgers the MVP. Aaron Rodgers responded by saying that Davante Adams is a special player that means a lot to him, went ahead and sent out this extremely cryptic tweet. Gotta appreciate what you got while you got it. Now, look, we're not gonna go in and try to decipher what this means. I don't really think you gotta be a genius to know know what this means. I don't think it's really a coincidence that Davante Adams, a guy that doesn't really put out these cryptic tweets, decided to put a cryptic tweet out at this time. Because clearly Aaron Rodgers probably isn't feeling very much appreciated. Obviously, it's not really saying it, but come on, it doesn't really take a genius to figure this out. And the thing is, the last time I saw cryptic tweets like this is when Stefon Diggs was tweeting out about how disgruntled he was with the Minnesota Vikings, and we know how that ended up. Yes, it ended up being a huge win for both the Minnesota Vikings and the team that traded for him, the Buffalo Bills, because the Minnesota Vikings got the pick that became Justin Jefferson, and Stefon Diggs definitely saw a bit of an uptick in production and team success after getting traded to the Buffalo Bills. Still, this isn't anything that you would want to see from a star wide receiver. This isn't the behavior you want to see from your star quarterback, and this isn't the tension you would want between your quarterback and your general manager. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all of this, because this is absolutely crazy and it's only about to get crazier. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.